Welcome to Overlooked. My name is Yemi, and I will be your host for the show. Released weekly, I share overlooked stories from around the world with you. This will include the good, the bad, the weird, and sometimes the absolutely hilarious. Come back often, share with your friends, and feel free to add the podcast to your regular podcast rotation, wherever you get your podcasts. If you come across stories or articles that you think should be featured here, please don't hesitate to share them. Now, it's time for this week's episode. Hi everyone, it's Yemi here. Welcome to another episode of Overlooked. Hope you all had a nice week. Let's jump straight into the episode this week. Last week's episode covered the story of an oil spill in the coast of Mauritius. According to local press, an oil tanker carrying about 200 tons of diesel and 3,800 tons of bunker fuel ran aground on the island on July 25th. For those who don't know and are just catching up, Mauritius is a tourist hotspot, and it's also home to the world-renowned coral reefs. The ship ran aground on Point Destiny, which is a known sanctuary for rare wildlife. There are also wetlands in the area, and those sites are designated as sites of international importance by the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. So to catch you up, in a recent update, the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravin Jagnut, has said that almost all the fuel oil from the Japanese-owned ship has been pumped out, which is good news. Unfortunately, the ship has now split apart, which means that the part of the oil that had not yet been cleared out has gone into the ocean. Mauritius is receiving support from other countries, including France and Japan, to help clear out the spill, and an investigation into what actually caused the leak is still ongoing. To fight a dramatic decline in the population of insects, Germany now has plans to ban floodlights from dusk till dawn for much of the year. This is one of several measures to protect insects. Other measures have included stricter regulation on the use of things like insecticides. So typically most of us would see insects as buggy pests, but they play an important role in our ecosystem. For example, they introduce air into the soil, and they also pollinate the flowers, which may help produce fruits. According to news sources, light traps for insects are also expected to be banned outdoors, while searchlights and sky spotlights would be illegal from dusk till dawn for 10 months out of the 12 months of the year. Also, new street lights coming into play or other outdoor lights will also have to be installed in a way that minimizes their effects on plants, insects, and other animals. As I introduce you to this story, let's take a trip to Imagination Land. So imagine yourself as a small-scale Tanzanian farmer. You're mining away for years and years, and then on one fateful day in 2020, you find a gemstone that just so happens to be worth $3.4 million US. This would literally be the biggest find of your life, and then you find out that it might actually be the largest find on record. It's like winning the mining lottery already. Now, let's take that a step further. Imagine that after finding that, about a month later, as you're digging away, you find another gemstone worth an additional $2 million. That would be life-changing, right? Yes, it was for Sani Nulazier, a small-scale Tanzanian miner who in the space of 2 months found 3 Tanzanite gemstones worth a combined $5.4 million US. Tanzanite is only found in northern Tanzania and is used to make ornaments. It is one of the rarest gemstones on Earth, and the precious stone appeal lies in its variety of hues, including green, red, blue, and purple. When Mr. Lazier found the first pair of stones about a month ago, his plans were to celebrate with his family over a big meal, invest in his community by building a shopping mall and a school, and share some of the wealth with his staff. I can't even imagine how it felt when he found the first 2 gemstones, let alone finding a third gemstone just a month later. It must have felt awesome. So fun fact for you, dear listener, this week I learned that John Malkovich has filmed a movie directed by Robert Rodriguez that will not be seen until the year 2115. The movie is called 100 Years, the Movie You Will Never See. No kidding. John Malkovich is an American actor for those who don't know. He's also a voice actor, director, producer, and fashion designer. The movie will be displayed but not played at the Cannes Film Festival. It will then be locked in a safe that is only designed to open during its official premiere on November 18th, 2115. 100 Years is an intriguing project that envisions Earth 100 years from now. To be quite frank, I'm not necessarily curious about what they may have put in the movie on their vision of the next 100 years. And the reason I say that is because each and every one of us, if asked a question, would probably come up with different visions for the future. Now, what I'm more curious about is how those who may watch it in the future will look back on it. Kind of like the way we look back on time capsules right now and think, oh, that's cute, they thought this would happen. So for example, one of the things I thought about was, will their devices be backwards compatible? And will they be able to play the formats of movies we have now? What would they think about what our lives right now were like? And what would they think about what we think about their lives would be like then? I also tried to wonder what people 100 years ago would have imagined the year 2020 would look like. Obvious pandemic aside, my thoughts are that it would have been almost mind-blowing for them to imagine life as we know it to be right now. So it makes me even wonder more how future generations would judge how we viewed them. Anyway, share your thoughts and let me know what you think the world will look like 100 years from now. Also, how do you think they would look back on how we thought they would live? There's a new drug that has shown promise for those who have symptoms of relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, otherwise known as RRMS. RRMS is the most common type of multiple sclerosis, or MS. In a new double-blind, randomized phase 3 trial, patients treated with the drug ofatumumab had a lower annualized relapse rate in the multiple sclerosis compared to those treated with teriflunomide, another MS drug. So I'll just keep referring to ofatumumab as the drug because, yeah. According to the MS Society of Canada, MS is currently classified as an autoimmune disease of the central nervous system, which includes the brain, the spinal cord, and the optic nerve. So despite years of research, a clear cause of MS has not been found yet. And according to current evidence, it may be caused by a mix of factors, including lifestyle, environmental, genetic, and biological factors. It is not age-specific. It can occur at any age. MS is unpredictable, and it may cause symptoms such as extreme fatigue, lack of coordination, weakness, tingling, impaired sensation, vision problems, bladder problems, cognitive impairment, and mood changes. During an MS attack, a person may experience new or worsening common MS symptoms like the ones I've just listed. So its effects can be physical, emotional, and of course financial. Existing drugs reduce the frequency of these attacks, but are all far from a cure. So back to the trial. In the new trial, more than 900 patients were injected with the drug, and monthly for an average of 19 months. According to the research published in the New England Journal of Medicine, the drug comprehensively outperformed its rival across a range of measures. Those on the new drug suffered half as many relapses, and 90% reported no attacks after the first year of treatment. Slightly more patients who were under drug reported a better health state after 6 months than those who reported a worse health state. So like any other drug, it comes with its fair share of potential side effects. Some potential side effects included headaches, increases in upper respiratory tract infections, and possible reactions at the point where the drug was injected. These side effects, of course, would need to be weighed against the potential benefits of this drug, like any other. The first effective MS treatments became available over 20 years ago, but the new study is the latest to demonstrate the greater effectiveness of a new type of treatment. Novartis Pharma funded the study, and it is now applying for approval to market the new drug in the United States and globally as a way to potentially treat RMS. In a story that will likely be made into a movie, a Vietnamese woman who traveled to Taiwan to find the father she had never met ended up unknowingly working for him as a maid. The lady, Trian Thi Cam, who is now 40, did not discover that she was Tsai Hang Chao's daughter until after she had stopped working for him. Mr. Hanchao is now 77 years old. This emotional reunion only happened because she had mistakenly left some keepsakes at his home. Her father had given these keepsakes to her mother over 40 years before. He had given a gold ring and pictures of himself to a Vietnamese woman he had fallen in love with in Hong Kong in the year 1967. She had then returned to her home country to take care of her mother, and while he returned to Taiwan. After her mom passed away, she was raised by her aunts, and now, 40 years later, father and daughter have been reunited. This seems like as good a place as any to end this podcast episode. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. Have yourselves a great week ahead. Bye. Thanks for listening, friends. As a reminder, the podcast is released weekly. Subscribe or follow across social media to be notified when a new episode is released. Overlooked is a Tunuka media production, which also includes shows like Africa in My Kitchen, with more on the way. Follow Tunuka Media on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to connect to say hi or to be on the forefront of upcoming shows and program schedules. Until next time, I'm your host Yemi, wishing you a better tomorrow.